how's it? Jordan here. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a 3D character controller using Unity and C#. So, as you see, we have our character walking around. And he doesn't slide, which is quite nice. But that's nothing too special. But what I do quite like is if we go to our game and increase, as you see here, we have a nice dynamic using new input system. We can use W, A, S, and D. But we can also use your gamepad, as you see, left stick. You can add as many different kind of controllers or different inputs as you want, and very easy to change them. If we make the speed 10, let's say, then a walking animation like usually the kind of things I do won't be the same speed. So as you see here, he walks faster, but his animation is also faster, which makes him look very unusual actually, and looks like some weird sped up footage of some video. But if we make it, let's say 3, which might be a bit better, maybe 2. So ideally you might want to switch to some running animation maybe, but this is probably the best, that kind of speed, made 2. But as you see, if he hits a wall, he won't try and walk into a wall like most of my and just games generally do. He doesn't walk at all, he just stops his animation. Now I'm also going to be using Mixamo to get the animations and characters. Now I'm not actually going to show you how to get the characters or animations or how to download them from Mixamo, because I just think that it's very self-explanatory and Mixamo is super easy to use. And if you can't figure it out yourself, then that's fine, just find some online tutorial. There are many ones on how to use Mixamo. I am actually going to show you how to get the animation from when you download an animation from Mixamo, how to get the actual Unity animation from it. But that's also pretty simple, and I explain it in later in the video. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, I'm in Unity now. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my model folder. Before I carry on, I just want to show you. So I've just set up a very basic plane in the scene, and I've imported this character from Mixamo. So it is the racer character, and I'll give the link in the description to his character in Mixamo, so you can download it if you want. Of course, you can use any character though, as long as it has animations and a rig. So I'll just drag him in and reset his position. Next, I'm going to add a few things. So first, I'm going to add a rigid body. I'm going to go to constraints, and I'm going to freeze pretty much everything except the position Y. That's fine. Next, I'm going to add a box collider, and this will be our collision. So I'll just move the sensor point up a bit. Okay, let's say the size is 2, and this would be up by 1. Just a bit lower, let's say. Okay, you want it on the feet, so the feet don't fall through the ground. So we'll edit this. There we go, that should be fine. The head doesn't really matter that much. And we can squash it a bit to the dimensions of our character. There we go. And that is fine for now. Next, we are going to call this player, let's say player mesh. And we can make a parent. That will be the player. Actually, thinking about it, I'm just going to copy this rigid body over to our main player. And of course, the box collider. We can remove both components and add them to the player, the actual player. And there we go. Next, I'm going to add a new script, and let's call it player. Okay, not player quit handler, new script, and create an ad. So I have a few folders here, including our animations. I'm going to also add another animation here. I'm not sure why it apparently disappeared. I thought I had an idle here, but I can add that in later in the video. But we're going to go to Assets, dragging the player to Scripts, and then we can just open it up. And it should open up in the ID you set. So let's just save our scene and open it up. There we go. We can close this window. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to add a few public variables. So we're going to add a public input action, and we're going to call it move. And that's all we need for now. I'm going to add two private booleans, which I'm not actually going to use in this video, but it is quite helpful when you may improve this character controller, make it more functionality, let's say picking up, jumping, whatever. It's just really nice. It just can move is equal to true, and another private bool can rotate. There we go, is equal to true. And that's all we need for now. We also, thinking about it, we also need a rigid body. And rigid body. And then later on, I'll also add the animator and stuff like that. So I'm going to add a void start. Right, I'm going to say rigid body is equal to get component. And we don't have to go, let's say, get our objects and go dot get components, because it's on our actual object that the script is attached to. And we're going to get the rigid body components. Body, there we go. And that should be it for now. Next, what we can do is we can go actually, before we carry on, I forgot, we are using the new input system. So you're going to go using Unity engine.input system. So to make it work, you need to go on enable. Okay. And there's a void. So void on enable. Then we can go move dot enable. And that should be it. And then finally on disable. Next we're going to go to fixed update. And we are going to go, so first let's just have a float. And this will be, oh, I forgot, we actually need to have a speed. This will be a public float speed. Let's say 1f for now. We can then go float, and we're going to name this walk speed is just equal to speed for now. This will change later on, depending on our velocity. So the animations are really nice, and let's say you stop moving, you don't carry on walking like a lot of video games you see, where they just carry on playing the walking animation when they're just not moving at all and hitting into a wall. So we're going to go if can move is equal to true. Oops, there we go. And we then can go move direction is equal to move dot read value vector 2. There we go. And then we can just set the velocity and things like that. For now, let's just make our move direction variable. I'm going to make this public so you can see it in the inspector for now. We'll make it private later though. And this is going to be a vector 2 and move direction. There we go. We can then go back to Unity. whoops, it doesn't work. So the reason why is not because there's any problems. If we go to Command comma, on Mac at least, I'm not sure what the Windows, probably Control comma or something, then what we want to do is we want to search. Let's just try and find it. I believe it might be in player. Let's find player. Oh, it's not in preferences. Edit project settings. There we go. And we're going to choose the input system, active input handling. You can choose both. Both might be the wisest option if you are using just your normal input system and the new one. Let's just choose both. And you're going to click apply. So don't click cancel though, otherwise it won't work. Click apply and it'll reboot the whole edit. Okay, it's done reloading. If we go to our console now, and I'm not sure why this is still broken. Okay, I just figured out why I have these errors. We need to go to the package manager. And we need to go Unity registry. And we need to search input system. I totally forgot we need to do this. So install. And just wait a few seconds and it should be done now. And as you see here, we have this move. So you want to click on the plus sign, add up, down, left, right composite. So you want to click up, and you can make it whatever you want. I'm going to click listen, and let's say up is W. Okay, we're going down is, let's say, S. Left is left. And right is the right. Whoops, I'm kind of mixing in. Let's just fix this. There we go. Okay, and then the right is D. So this is all fine, but you might want to choose other things. Let's say I actually have a PS4 controller or PS5 controller, I have no idea. You want to click add. I'll add a new 2D vector, and this time you want to click do the same thing, but you want to move your controller. So in this case, I'm just moving the left stick up, and you want to choose, as you see, I'm using a PlayStation controller. You want to go left stick up, okay, on the gamepad. Then you can click on down, and this will be left stick down on the gamepad. And the exact same thing for all the others. So we have left and we have right. And if we press play, and I'm moving my controller now. So this is me moving the controller. If I go forward, the Y is 1. If I move backwards, -1. Left, X is 1. Negative X, of course. And we can move kind of in the middle of both of them. And I'm just turning it. And of course, if I press W, A, S, and D, it's pretty much all the expected norms of what most games do. So that's really it. It's really nice and simple. So if we go back to our code, and if we go down here, we want to make a let's just add a velocity. So we're going to add a private vector3 velocity, and there we go. So when our move direction is equal, okay, so what we want to do is we want to go velocity is equal to move direction times by speed, which in this case does nothing at all because speed is 1 and doesn't really do anything. But of course, if you change the speed, it will change how fast it moves. So that's pretty much all we have to do. And if we just go rigid body at the very bottom, by the way, so this will be at the bottom of all your code pretty much, we just go rigid body dot velocity is equal to new vector3. And the reason why I'm not just sticking velocity in here, because if it falls, it would be very slow and do just some weird things. So I'm going to give the x velocity.x, the y, which is up down if you've forgotten, we go rigid body.velocity.y, and then we go velocity.y, not z, because we're setting it to a vector 2. And that's quite important to think about when you're saying things vector 2s and vector 3s, and yeah, you've got to remember that kind of stuff, because otherwise it does some weird things. You can't move left and right or up and down, something like that. But this should be able to move now. If we run go Unity, whoops, we have a semicolon, forgot semicolon here. If we run this again, whoops, I spelled velocity wrong apparently. Okay, L-T-Y, velocity, there we go, I spelled it wrong here. And it's still wrong somewhere else. That's weird. I'm not sure what's wrong actually here. Whoops, I spelled velocity here wrong. Obviously I was using autocorrect, and autocorrect was using some wrong one. There we go, I got every single velocity wrong. Right, if we press play now, we should be able to move forward, left, and right. Forward, backwards, left, and right. Okay, it's a bit strange. I'm not sure why we're not moving. Maybe what I need to do is not freeze a position. Maybe they'll fix it. There we go. And now he moves around. So as you see, it's the most amazing movement system you've ever seen. No. So what we want to do is, a lot of movement systems, they work with camera. Now this system, it points in the direction where we're moving. So if we're moving, let's say left, it will point left direction, right direction, down, it will point down, well, this down, and up, it will point up. And of course, all the angles, of course. So what we want to do is we want to go, we're going to add a player, open up player script. So I'm going to add a public transform, and this will be target rotation. And this will actually be very useful. So what we're going to do, target rotation transform, let's say. Then in fixed update, we're going to go if can rotate is equal to true. You don't have to have the equals to true, you can just do this. But I like equals to true, it just makes sense and easier to read very fast. So what we're going to do is, if we only rotate if the velocity is not 0, it's not equal to vector 3 dot 0. It's quite nice actually, because we actually have a bunch of these, like we have vector 3 dot left, right, up and down, and all the different directions. And it's just better than having to make a whole new vector 3. It's just easier just to get this variable. So if that's true, then we can go target rotation transform, okay, dot look at, and that's just it just looks at that, it gets the angle, and we're going to go we're going to look at a certain position. So this is velocity.x plus by transform dot position.x, okay? And you'll see why I'm doing all this in a bit. Also, the reason why I don't just stick velocity plus transform is because the y is equal to 0. And then we're going to set velocity dot y plus by transform dot position dot z. And there we go. So, oh, that's weird. So next what we're going to do is we can just set, at least for now, character, which is our mesh, dot transform dot rotation is equal to quaternion dots. Actually, let's for now just make it simpler. Let's say to target dot rotation transform dot rotation. Okay, there we go. Now if we go to Unity, whoops, of course there's an error and I have to make the character, so this will be another public variable. This will be a public game object. This will be player. Oh, I think it's character. Character. There we go. And there we go. So it's obviously I named something Vector. Whoops, Vector 3. And another vector. What? It's still loading. There we go. Okay. So for some reason it stuck the loading menu on my second monitor for some weird reason instead of my main monitor, which I'm looking at now. It's very weird. I don't know why that happened. Anyway, we're going to set character to player mesh and target rotation transform. We can just make target rotation. If you want, you can even make this some sort of box or something. I'm not going to do that, but you could do that if you wanted. Right, now let's press play, and it should actually work. As you see, it's doing pretty much what we wanted. It's doing all the diagonals, but as you might tell, it's very snappy. If this is for some very strange reason what you wanted, then sure, then you don't have to watch the next step, but this is definitely not what I wanted. So I still want it to be only in these directions, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a nice smoothing effect. So all you have to do that is just go quaternion dot lerp. Okay, and then we can go we can get our character dot actually no, we're going to, oh yes, so I forgot, dot, actually we can set these to 0, you know. So 0, we can then go target rotation transform dot rotation dot y, and then 0 again, since the character doesn't need any rotation on the x and z axis. Otherwise it will be weirdly pivoted and kind of floating in the air. It just looks weird. Now all we have to do after this is we want to go comma, okay, and this is time dot fixed delta time to make sure that it doesn't change. It's slower on a slower computer and faster, and not just crazy fast on a very fast computer. It's the same speed on any computer, regardless of frame rate. And then we're going to go times by a smoothing amount, which is just 5f. Now you could make a variable of this, but I'm not going to, since 5f is perfect for me. And we go, oh yes, of course, we need character dot transform dot rotation. I was a bit confused. I was thinking of vector 3 for some reason. Now the reason why is because it has to have a start and end position. There we go. Now it should work. Okay, cannot convert from floats. So what we need to do is we need to just go a rotation dot, actually we can just There we go. And let's try and move it on the screen, see if it stays on my main screen. And press play. And if we move around, as you see, it's a lovely, nice, smooth angle. And we have all our diagonals still. It's just nice and smoother. So I'm testing out on a joystick now, and it works brilliantly. Well, brilliantly the movement system, not him just teleporting a bit, looking like, because he's not walking. So we're going to set up animations now. So I still have no idea why I haven't got the idle animation. So I'm just going to add that in quickly. Right, so I just thought I'd just show you how to actually get the animation from Mixamo. So all you do is you choose your animation character from Mixamo, upload your character, click the download, and I choose without skin since it's a bit faster and you don't need the skin for the animation. So what you want to do is you'll get something like this. I have my idle, just name this clip idle. We can open it, actually first let's click apply. So you'll get no icon because there's no actual mesh, but you click open and we can click on idle and go Command C, Command V. I think it's Control C and Control V for Windows. And now you have your idle and walking animation. By the way, I think there's a very weird bug with Unity where for some reason, as you see here, I don't know if you can see it very well, but the character's inverted. Like the character's shadow is almost inverted. It's very weird. There's a weird grey patch of the character which is inverted upside down. I have no idea why. It's a very buggy looking thing, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't affect anything. Now we have our two animations. We can, let's just close this. We're on idle. We want to click loop time. And if it's not perfect looping, like it has a bit of a stutter at the end, then instead of having to change your animation, you can just click loop pose. But this is done by Mixamo, so all the animations are pre-made and all fine and looping and everything else. So we're going to go to that animator. We're going to go to player mesh. And in our animations, we're going to make a new animator. So animation controller, animator controller. We'll name this player. We will add our idle in as our main animation. I will then add parameters. I'll add a float, and this will be walk speed. So usually for a lot of games I've made or played, they generally what they do is they just have this as a boolean. So you walk, and when it's in true, then they start walking. There are two things I don't like about that very much though. So the first thing is that if you walk into a wall, you might notice that you carry on walking. It doesn't care, it doesn't see that you've stopped moving, it just cares that the boolean is true, that you're holding down the key. But if we make this walk speed greater than 0.1, let's say, and then when we make transition and walk speed is less than 0.1, then it will stop. We want to, by the way, disable has exit time, otherwise it will finish animation, then end or start. So you have to wait for the whole relatively long idle animation to finish before it starts walking animation, which isn't very good at all. Also, another thing you can do, I don't think it matters very much with this, but if you want and you have, let's say it's so transitioned from, let's say you start the walk speed at 0 and it slowly goes up to 1, so it was some point, let's say it's 0.5 or something like that, we can just go parameter, make the multiplier walk speed, which is the speed. And it's just quite nice, it just slows it down and speeds it up depending on what value this is. And what's also nice is if you change your speed to be very fast, let's say, so it moves quite fast, then it will still not teleport or slide a tiny bit or slide quite a lot depending on how fast you made it. It will react to that speed. So the next thing you want to do is go back to your code. And there we go. So what we want to do is we want to set our walk speed. So we're going to set walk speed to mathf dot round. Okay, and we're going to round rigid body dot velocity dot magnitude. And the reason why we're doing magnitude, by the way, is because that makes sure that it's so we can get the two vector 2 values and stick them together basically. So if the x is 1, let's say, then the value in the magnitude will be 1. If the y is 1 and the x is 1, will be 1. It's just very useful. And it's just really nice for converting a vector 2 or vector 3 to a float. So we're going to go vector rigid body dot velocity dot magnitude divided by 2 times by 10f. And then in the end, we're going to go divided by 10f. And this to make sure that we don't get values like 0.17555 or some weird values like that, which you do get. And next, what we're going to do, instead it will be limited to 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, zeros, things like that. So 1 decimal place. We can then go if walk speed is equal to 0.1f. Okay, then we set walk speed to 0. That means moving so slowly that it may as well not walk at all. And then we can set animator dot set float. Put in the exact float name. If it's different, then it won't work. It'll give some errors or it won't do anything at all. Walking speed, and we're going to give it walk speed. There we go. And then that should be it. And we can also set velocity is equal to vector 3 dot 0. I forgot to do that a while ago. Now if we press play, whoops, I totally forgot, we must make a variable for animator. I really wish there was some, I'm sure there is some program that you can just right click on this or something, a variable. Say we right click on velocity and makes it a variable up top. That'd be really nice. I don't know if there's some add-on or something for Visual Studio Code that does it. There probably is somewhere. But we can just make a private, and this will be a okay, let's check. Private animator. I don't know why I said animator. And there we go. And we can set animator, just copy the rigid body, animator, and animator. I need to add a space between them. And then if we just press play, whoa, it doesn't like that. Oh, and I totally forgot. It's supposed to be our character. Character dot get components. Because the animator is actually on the player mesh. So we want to add the animator. At least just drag our player controller on. And now if we press play, hopefully it'll work. Right, it seems to be playing the animation. It doesn't seem to be able to move though. I'll just split the screen to see exactly what's happening here. Right, I'm testing it. Okay, it does sort of work. I have no idea why it decided not to actually move. For some reason, oh, it's walk speed, not walking. There we go, that's why. That's what happens when it isn't the correct name. Right, and if we, let's just wait a second. I'm not sure why it isn't, there we go. Pressing the arrow keys, not the W, A, S, and D. And as you see, he's walking around. By the way, the reason why I divided by the magnitude by 2 is because before it was moving too fast. This is probably not perfect, and I'm sure there's some special formula you can do to get perfect, or just try and error, but no, divided by 2 is the best that I got quickly. But yeah, now he can walk fine. And what's cool is his physics-based movements. So let's say we add a cube. And if we add it, there we go. And if we add our cube, and it has a box collider. And if our little character moves forward, there we go. As you see, he just stops trying to move forward if there's an obstacle in the way. And actually, if he doesn't move at all, it doesn't matter how much you press W, A, S, and D, he won't move. And there we go. So as you see, he just doesn't even try and walk forward if he can't. So there's a really nice system. So I was actually going to do where you can have the input system the normal way, where you make, I think it's, I'm not sure where it is, but it's a special object you add here. But I think this is a bit nicer to have it in the object. So the reason why I think that is because it's, let's say you have a settings menu. I'm not sure how you set item, if you can, even an asset here, the item assets. I don't know if you can. Oh, here, this might be it. Input actions. Yes. So you could do this, but I'm not sure how you set this in some settings menu. But this would be really easy to just set in some dynamic input system setting menu. It'd just be really simple to do. And that's why I'm not doing it the other way. We have it. You can very easily connect it up to an input system like that, but I'm not going to. And as I said earlier, by the way, I'm going to make move direction private. So, this is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And let's just close this window. So, this is the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next one. Bye!